Okay, this video is for Algebra 1 and mainly for Peyton because he wasn't in class today. The first thing you're going to be doing is you're going to be writing in words, and that's where it says change algebraic expressions to verbal expressions. Verbal expressions would be in words. Okay, so let's look at this first one here. And anytime you see x squared, you're going to say the square of x. So you'd write the words, the square of x. Okay, now it's being added to y plus 3, so you're not going to, or y to the third, you're not going to say plus y to the third. You're actually going to start with the words, the sum of, and because, okay, so you're actually going to add the words, the sum of, and then you're going to say the square of x and the cube of y. Okay, you could also say the sum of x squared and y cubed. Okay, because anything to the third power is cubed. Okay, adding is a sum. Alright, so here we have a sum as well, but this part is a quotient because when you have something being divided, it's a quotient. So you would start with, you're still going to start with the sum. You're going to say the sum of, and then you say the quotient of x and 3, and then and the square of y, because you're finding the sum of the quotient here and the square of y. Does that make, I hope that makes sense. I started to ask you like you're going to answer me. That's funny. On this one, this is a product because you have it being multiplied. Anytime they're stuck together, that means multiplication. And we have two sums here, so we're going to say the product of the sum of, let me move my page up, x and 2, and I'm running out of room, the difference, and I'll just finish saying this in words, the difference, let me see if I can do it, of y and 3, because anytime you subtract, that's the difference. So Peyton, just do your best on this. It is tricky. On this one, you're going to be given the words, and you're going to write it into algebraic expressions. So the quotient of the square of x and the sum of y and 3. You have the quotient, which means you're going to be dividing, and the first thing it says is the square of x. So we're going to put that on top, x squared. Then the other thing is whatever it says and what? The sum of y and 3. When you sum, you're adding, so we're going to say y and 3 is what goes on the bottom, because you're going to be doing the quotient of these two things, this thing here and this thing here. Okay, next is evaluating. You're going to be evaluating expressions. You're going to be given what your values are for your letters. Okay, and it's going to be different on your page, but say you had a equals -2, b equals 3, and c equals -5. You're just going to be plugging those in for your values in your expressions here. Okay, so if a is -2 and a is being squared, then we're going to say -2 squared. That's different than -2 squared. Remember, we don't want to do that because we need that negative being squared as well. Okay, let me erase that mess down there. All right. And then we would write plus, and then b is 3, so I'm going to say 3. It's stuck to the c, so I'm going to say 3 times -5, because c is -5. So -2 squared is 4, then 3 times -5 is -15, and 4 plus -15 is -11. So that is finding the value of it, evaluating it. On this one, this example, a is -2, and we're going to say minus b, and b is 3. So -2 minus 3, remember we changed that to plus, changed that to minus, and we have -5. I have a few more examples, I think. Okay, so c squared, c is -5, so we're going to write -5 and put it in parentheses again, squared, plus, what was I? -2, I'm going to say it like this, -2 times 3, b was 3. So -5 squared here, that would be -5 times -5, that gives us 25. -2 times 3 is -6, and 25 plus -6, whoops, went too far, is 19, and that's the answer. I think that probably will give you a good start. You can probably do most of the evaluations and give the ones where you have to. Write the expressions a try, Peyton. Everybody else, you should be able to do those, and if I missed a section, I apologize, and I will go over that with you tomorrow. Anyway, have a good evening, and I hope this helps.